Hi friends, I'm Sana
And I'm Afnan.
and this is the new episode of the Star Bar.
All these hoodies look good.
Well, repping 10th law school today. Ooh. Okay guys, so today's episode is all about exploring what the bar entails in the early stages of your education. So, Afnan, can you share with us who is a barrister and what do they actually do?
Of course. Well, sorry to break it to you guys, but if you think being a barrister is anything like the drama suits, it is definitely not, unfortunately or fortunately. But what I can tell you, being a barrister involves specializing as a legal advisor. It involves courtroom advocacy. It involves representing clients in courts, tribunals, or any other sort of formal setting. And this is the basic fundamentals of what being a barrister is. But of course, there's a lot of misconceptions that we have as well. So, Sana, can you discuss some of the misconceptions that people have about being a barrister in England and Wales?
Oh, yes, of course. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that everyone thinks if you've done law, you're a lawyer, you're an advocate, and that's it. You know, that is not how it works in the United Kingdom or England and Wales. So if you go back to my home country, which is India, if you've done law, everyone's an advocate. There's no specialization. Everyone's called a lawyer or an advocate. But if you come to the England and Wales, there's a prominent distinction between two specific roles, that is of a barrister and of a solicitor. So the barristers, as Afnan said, are the ones that go to the courts and they represent their clients in court, whereas solicitors are your first port of call. They are the ones who, you know, give you the first advice. Basically, they are your first point of call or advice. You go to, if you have a law case, any case, a legal
you go to a solicitor.
a legal case, you will go to a solicitor first. Then the solicitor will come to a barrister after they have completely discussed the case with the client. So I think that is one of the major misconceptions here. And besides that, the second misconception is that everyone thinks that even barristers are employed, which is not true. Barristers are mostly 90% of them are self-employed. Even if they are working with chambers, they're only, you know, paying for the electricity and the space. The rest, everything, it's their own reputation, their own, you know, work. Everything what they're doing is because of who they are. And so they're completely self-employed in that sense, compared to solicitors who are actually employed and they work for different law firms. However, now there is also a route called the employed bar, which you can get into, which we will be discussing at a later stage. And so even for the solicitors, there's a route called solicitor advocate, wherein you can go to the courts and even solicitors can argue. So even that, that'll be.
And even like the distinction between solicitors, barristers, we can talk in a further video.
We will definitely go dig deeper into the differences, probably in our forthcoming videos. Now that we've discussed these misconceptions, Afnan, can you go into some detail about how, you know, one can decide if this is the profession actually for them?
Of course. So you are at an early stage and you're probably exploring a number of professions, and being a barrister is something that may have stood out to you, whether at a careers fair or somewhere else. Now, as we have said, we've discussed what a barrister is, but what are the qualities? Do you have these qualities to be a barrister? I would say there are some universal qualities that all barristers have. whether you're a criminal barrister, family law barrister, commercial barrister, or any other sort of barrister. This is oral communication, written advocacy, determination, and initiative.
Right.
You need these three qualities to be a successful barrister. If you do not have these qualities, unfortunately, I think it will be very difficult for you to succeed.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what do these involve? Oral communication is basically, at this stage, do you enjoy speaking in public? Do you enjoy debating? Do you enjoy, giving presentations in some capacity? If that is yes, then this is an area that you should be exploring. Another very important thing, if not more important, like we discussed, is written advocacy.
Yes.
Written advocacy, at this stage, you can see if you have it, is do you pride yourself in writing a clear, structured, logical piece of work? Do you enjoy doing legal research or any other type of research for your history modules or any other subject? Do you enjoy going into depths of that and finding a logical conclusion?
Yeah.
If that is also yes, then this is something you should be exploring. Finally, I think this is also extremely important, which is determination and initiative.
Yes.
You need to have this sort of drive to keep you pushing through this field because it is an extremely challenging profession. And if you do not have determination, if you do not have that ability to think outside of the box creatively, then it will be difficult for you. So are you a natural problem solver? Do you see a problem and you're immediately thinking of how to solve it, how to help others? Are you able to think creatively and critically? Are you able to think on your 2 feet under pressure? Can you take on challenges? Do you want to take on challenges and succeed in them? If this is something that sounds like what you are doing right now, then I really do think that this is a profession that you should be exploring further. And of course, like with anything, you need to polish these skills. And at school, there are a number of ways that you can polish these skills. So Sana, is there like some tips that you could give to our friends on how to polish these skills at this early stage of their career?
Yes, of course I can. So say for your oral communication skills, I think what really helped me during my school life was that I was a theatre enthusiast for about 6 to 7 years of my school life, and that really boosted my self-confidence and my confidence to perform and speak in front of large gatherings, which is, I think, one of the basics of being a barrister, that you have to be in court all the time, in front of public, in front of people you've never seen, you even don't know them. So I think the confidence that you need is actually immense, because if you don't have that self-confidence, then it is difficult to succeed, I'd say. So I'd say theatre is one that you could do during your school time. The other one is participating in some Model United Nation conferences. I think that is also another good way, to put your word out there and convince the public of your viewpoint. And because there also you're representing different states, different organizations, and you're trying to convince the members of society that, oh, my viewpoint is correct, come with me, be my ally. So I think that is another good way. Besides that, obviously you can take part in different debating competitions, inter-school or intra-school, and then different advocacy competitions. If you come across any, you could also do mooting. There are a lot of routes, I'd say, to polishing your oral communication skills if you're actually really keen to do that. And yeah, I think that is about it for the oral communications.
Yeah.
But coming on to written communications, what do you think, Ifnan, would be the right path?
So again, like with oral communication, written communication or written advocacy is also a non-exhaustive list. There is a number of things that you could do to polish your written communication skills.
Of course, yeah.
One good example would be to participate in essay writing competitions. Now, this can be through your school, outside of school, such as through university competitions, or as well as through other companies that do these writing competitions. I think they are a great way to put yourself out there and research perhaps a topic that you had no clue about before.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
to really delve into some research and get your point out there and show that you're not only writing an essay, but you're being awarded in this essay, whether it's with prizes or any other type of award that you get through these competitions.
Yeah.
And this will really help you further on in your career once you're writing those pupillage applications, which we'll get to much later on.
Pupillage.
But for now, let's just say that this is an excellent way to get your communication through written words polished. Another thing would be, which I think is the most important, is to focus on your academic studies. I know we're talking about all these interesting ways, visiting courts and, participating in MUNs or theaters, and all of these things are very, very interesting and very helpful to polish your skills. But we cannot forget, and it is no secret, that to be a barrister, you need to have strong academic achievement. Without this, it will be very difficult for you to be successful in this field. So at this early stage, while you're still at school, focus on your studies. Focus on writing good essays, whether it is for history, geography, or whatever subject you have. Focus on that and try to do the best you can and get those grades up.
Definitely.
On top of this, again, we have you could write in school newsletters, newspapers, do a bit of amateur journalism. There's a lot of ways that you can show that you have good writing skills. And I think that is a list which is non-exhaustive again, which you could do. Of course, this moves us on to the third point, which is determination and initiative. So, Sana, what would you give a tip about that?
I think one tip that I could probably share is how to show your determination and your initiative is by actually going to the courts. You could probably go attend some public hearings in, say, the Old Bailey or the Royal Courts of Justice, RCJ, because here you'll actually see how the barristers are arguing, what is the process like, how the judge grills the barrister. Of course, that happens. And whatnot. I mean, if you enjoy criminal advocacy more than civil advocacy like me, you could probably go to the Old Bailey and actually watch cross-examination, examination in chief, and obviously the defendant's there, so all of that is happening, so it's a lot of fun. And obviously not to forget the jury, which in the end decides what the verdict is. So I think this is a really good way of showing that you're actually interested in this profession. You're taking an initiative by yourself, going to the courts, seeing what it is like. Because many times, you go for many pupillages and stuff, barristers will ask you, have you ever been to the courts? And you'll be like, no, I've not even seen. So that really doesn't look good on you. So I think one of the great ways of showing some initiative and that you're determined to get into this profession is by actually seeing what it entails in the courts.
Of course, and not only just to show initiative to your future applications or to future barristers that you're going to meet, it's even for you, it shows that is this profession right for you, and
Yeah,
what better way than seeing it firsthand and getting a real feel of
Totally.
what this involves.
Yeah.
So another thing I think we could go into for determination and initiative is starting your own societies
Oh.
or leading societies.
Mm.
At your school, I'm sure there must be roles for leadership, to become president or something of this sort that you can take part in. This is a great way to show that you are capable of having leadership, which is again very important to show that you will be a good barrister, because that's what you're basically doing in courts. You're leading your client, you're leading the jury, you're leading the judge, and the whole courtroom is being led by your story that you're trying to convince the jury of, or if it's not the jury, the district judge, magistrates, or whoever is the decision maker.
Yeah.
So I think early on, being able to polish these leadership skills is going to take you so far in your career. Another thing is, I understand, of course, that there is huge differences between south of England to the north of England and how the systems work, the schooling systems, and there's great disparity between them. Of course, some may feel that they're at a disadvantage where we don't have all these opportunities at school. So here you can take the initiative and start something on your own. For example, while I was at school, I did not have all these societies to join, and while we did try to convince our teachers to start something, it was something that was kind of hushed away. So instead of just going along with what we had at school, I thought, why don't I start my own society? And that's what I did.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. So I started Psychology Society, which is a subject that I was deeply interested in. Psychology Society basically held regular debates on current psychology issues. And that is something that you can do as well. Again, take your creativity and put it out there and show what you can really do. That if there's a problem, you can solve it in some capacity. Another thing is, as well as leadership and being able to show initiative, you also need to be able to take responsibility. Because as barristers, you'd agree, right? We have considerable amount of responsibility, whether it's to our clients or to the court or to the profession itself. We have to take responsibility, and to do that at school, you could perhaps be a prefect, or you could be a house captain, or something of this sort, to show that you can listen to people and you can speak up and raise their voices to others.
So I guess that is all for today, and we hope you found this video very informative and helpful. If you've any questions, then you could get in touch with us.
We'll put in the description below.
The details will be below. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our
YouTube channel. Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.